Alright, third time's a charm, I hope. Because I really don't feel like doing this, not because I'm ashamed of doing it, but just because I'm having such trouble getting it out right now. I'm kind of, head's kind of woozy, I'm kind of tired, but all excuses, right? Y'all know how it goes with me. But, I just wanted to come in here and do just a quick update slash correction, which, as with anybody, I don't like coming back in behind myself and confessing to my lack of knowledge or owning up to where I was wrong or acknowledging that I didn't have all my facts straight. But as I always say, whenever I get into a situation where I'm not straight on my facts or if I need more information, I'll always put my hand out there and request that either somebody find a way to get me the information that I need, or I'll just wait until I have the accurate information, which will help either sustain or challenge my position at any given time. But unlike the vast majority of people, I actually will come back up behind myself because, as I've stated before and as I continue to state, to me, truth trumps all. And it doesn't matter what the truth is, I honor and respect the truth. And so the last thing I need to be associated with is lies and misinformation. This is why I go apeshit ballistic on so many of the frauds that keep coming after me, trying to twist their stuff around and trying to paint a picture that isn't reflective of accurate situations. So with that said, some of you may probably by this time have some inkling as to what this is in reference to, and if not, then this goes back to the last upload that I just posted regarding yeah, her, him, it, whatever. As I stated in that earlier upload, and I guess I don't know if very few people are aware of it, or nobody's keeping track of it, or just nobody even bothered to let me in on the secret, whatever the situation was. But I did the digging myself, and I found out upon my own this whole incident about TJ, I'm every woman, talking about going to the FBI, and I raised the question as to why, if he was filing reports with the FBI, why was he going to the LAPD and talking with what I thought at the time was an imaginary police officer, police inspector, whatever. Well, some points of correction. I did finally track down the original video, and I did listen to the thing in its entirety, and from all indications, the call was legitimate. But does that mean that I back down from my initial interpretation that this is all being done as a publicity stunt? Absolutely not. And even so, I could still be wrong about that as well. But whether I am or whether I am not, I still stand by essentially what I said, which is whether or not he's doing this as a way of, in fact, I still stand by the whole fact that he's doing this more out of psychology than anything else. He's trying to lay a trip on people's brains to mind screw with them in order to, I guess, hopefully get people to back off from him and whatnot. And so he's trying to make it seem like if I can't shout you off of me, or if I can't twist and distort you off of me, then I'll, in a sense, scare you away from me by claiming that I'm going after the police and making a few calls. And even though they're legitimate calls, apparently from all indications, I still stand by exactly what I said, which is whether he's doing this as his true intent is to actually file complaints, or if he's doing this as a scare tactic. Either way, I still stand by what I said in the previous upload, which is that even if he's trying to make this a legitimate case, it's not going to go anywhere, or it's not going to go very far. And for the very reasons that I stated. Number one, of course, is the fact that he's trying to essentially, well, first of all, he has no evidence to back him up. That's the first tripping stone that he's totally unaware of, is the fact that if he's going to start naming names, as he did in his original upload, well, if he actually goes down to the police department and files the report, or goes to some other investigative arm and files a report, he cannot come out as he did in his video and claiming that Jeannie Burlesque is responsible for the death threats against my mother, and Lulu is responsible for the death threats against my mother, and Philly Monty is responsible for these. These are the people who are responsible for attacking me and coming after me and threatening my mother and threatening my baby moms and all this other stuff. You can't go with that information unless you have solid evidence. Now, you can claim that you suspect that these people are involved, But that's all you can go on. You can't make an absolute declaration and claim that, oh, these are the people who are responsible, as though you have some evidence, because that's the first thing they're going to ask you. What evidence do you have? What is there that you have to back you up that points to these people as being the culprits who are actually involved in what you're accusing them of being involved in? And if you don't have that, doesn't mean that the investigation doesn't go forward. Of course the investigation goes forward. But see, you have to take a couple of steps back. It's like, look, you can only claim that you suspect somebody as being involved, but unless you have some absolute, concrete, solid evidence to help back you up, you cannot point a finger at somebody and say that they're responsible. So whether there'll be any ramifications as a result of that, especially in light of the fact that he's already more or less admitted that he's going to send a law after people just because they think it's funny that his docs are getting dropped or whatever the heck it is. See, you don't build a law case, any sort of a suit around that. If anybody's really threatening his parents or whatever the heck is, that's what the investigative team is for. And they go and they try to track people down. They try to find out who's involved in it. And you can't just pull names out of the air and say these are the people responsible. Can't do it. Doesn't work that way. But isn't it interesting, though, that the idea that he would even resort to this method right about now, this is actually going to be more like him shooting himself in his own foot when you really think about it. Because here he is playing this victim about somebody making threats against him or against his family or what all. And he already set this stage against himself by essentially claiming to be somebody that he's not. Unless he went the legal route and actually had his name officially changed to Sotomayor, which I strongly, severely doubt. But that would be his only out, is the fact that, look, you had a legal name change, you can call yourself Tommy Sotomayor all you want to. But until then, that's just the way that it is. And so, in filing your police report, or trying to file your police reports or your FBI reports, you falsely identified yourself. That's fraud. That's number one. But number two, let's just say, hypothetically, that he's sincere, he's legitimate, he really does want to try to go after these people who are attacking him or threatening his mom or whatever the situation is. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And no, that's not as mindless, and no need to get confused and having your heads go in a spinning tizzy as to the fact that I would actually say something like that. There's a reason that I say that that would absolutely, positively be perfect. Because what that would end up doing, it means that, hey, if you want us to investigate these people because you claim that they're making all these threats against you and against your family, that means that the investigators actually have to start talking to people. And what, oh what, do you suppose would actually start happening once the investigators actually started talking to the people, especially the ones who are identified as being the suspected culprits in all this negativity that this man's getting, all these threats that he's supposedly getting? What do you think would be the result of those kinds of investigations / interviews? Because they're going to talk to people, right? And are going to especially talk to the people who are named as the suspects. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't all this mess start out because TJ Mugshot came after these folks first? Because he attacked them first? Because he attacked their families first? Because he threatened them and the members of their circle first? And if you don't believe me, and if you don't believe that he has this kind of an influence where either he himself or his cronies will actually go out and stir up this kind of trouble, well, remember a couple of uploads ago where I mentioned that Tommy is sort of like the black man version of a Sean Hannity and all these other right-wing neocon freaks who preach all this hatred and bombast, and it whips up the masses, the mindless, goose-stepping, knuckle-dragging masses who are just so hell-bent on stirring up anything that validates their anger and their bitterness and their hatred, that if you find somebody who's just unstable enough, that they will actually get pushed over the line and may actually end up doing something that their heroes kind of insinuated that they wanted done, that they were too cowardly to get their own hands dirty with. Well, guess what? Shortly after I made that upload, I came across another Tommy soundbite where he essentially admitted the exact same thing, more or less endorsing that if anyone who follows behind him and that supports him were to come out and to do something to somebody else, quote, because they're trying to impress me, unquote, and he signs off on that, let the investigation begin, I say. Let Tommy name all the names that he wants to name and let every single person get interviewed so that way they can talk to the investigators and they'll say, hey, come over here for a minute. I've got some files on my hard drive I'd like to show you. I've got some text comments I'd like to show you. I've got some video comments from this very guy that you claim is trying to accuse us of doing these things. Here, let me show you what it's really all about. Let me show you who's really making the threats. Let me show you who's really starting the trouble. Let me show you who's really out there trying to get people or threatening people, or if not him himself, his little group of cronies. And he's just kind of like sitting back like Manson. It's like, you go out and do this, or I don't care if you go out and do this, just as long as I don't get my hands dirty. Yep. So again, scare tactics. But even if he is sincere about trying to see this thing to its ultimate conclusion, I say bravo. Because when you talk to the people that you named names of, that yet you pointed the fingers at, they get to tell their side of the story too. And see, the thing that you keep forgetting, Tommy, is that people have a long laundry list of where you've essentially done everything and then some that you're accusing others of doing to you. So I look forward to seeing the fireworks. And with that, I'm just going to take a wait and see attitude and see where the chips fall. Because I guarantee you, it's going to be one wild ride if he decides to take it there. And right now, I really, honestly, truly hope he does. End of line.